The following video has been approved by the JD marketing team. It is rated JD for intense use of the word damn and many beaver-related puns. This video may not be suitable for all beavers. Good morning and g'day mate. Welcome back to Timberborn with me, JD. Today, we're talking about the experimental branch of Timberborn. Yep, that's it. The devs have dropped an experimental branch. They are starting to add things to the game. Now, you might be saying, yippee, I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for this too. But there's a couple of things we're going to have to cover because there's a chance it might break some of your games. So we're going to be covering the experimental branch now. At the same time, I will mention the devs are still tweaking things. Number of things. There have been a number of patches already to some of the things they've added, some of the old things that they've tweaked. So more tweaking is happening. But we're going to be covering what is in the patch so far. At the same time, I will actually remind you guys, I will be doing in the future some follow-up videos. Some follow-up videos going over the new timber types that we've got, the new food types we've got, same as we've done previously, doing experiments on which food is the best, or at least the most compact, along with which timbers are the best. So, you know, more details like that. I will be doing some follow-up videos like those in the not-too-distant future, sort of after things calm down a little bit. So, if you want to see those videos, by all means, click the subscribe button. At the same time, I'd very, very much appreciate it if you find this video helpful to do me a favor and click the like button. That way, hopefully, the algorithm picks it up. Hopefully, other Timberborn players get to see this video as well. And hopefully, they get to get these warnings before their base is absolutely ruined with some of the minor changes that devs have added. Now, there have been a bunch of things added to the game, but most of them are for late game. You have been warned, so you don't need to rush out and grab this patch yet, unless you're already playing around in the end game. But for a few things we need to cover, and these are going to be changes to the base game. So base game, and it's something that I've done in every single one of my playthroughs so far, I've been putting berries in the riverbed. There's a catch with that. If you put berries or trees in a riverbed now, they'll actually flood. So any food or wood you have planted in a riverbed will flood now, which means you need to take that into consideration. On top of that, water wheels, good old water wheels, power wheel. Water wheel now has 90 HP, per horsepower, or beaver power, all depends on how you look at it, divided by CMS, so cubic meters per second? Yes, which you can see, because I have a dam here, I don't have a lot of flow. We're doing exactly 0. That's a perfect example. Hang on, let's get some flow in this river. Alright, so with some flow, ooh, perfect example, perfect example. These berries are flooded, and they will die in 7 days if they stay underwater. Okay, you've been warned. So if we get some flow, we can see that my water wheel is now spinning, and it's spinning fairly quickly. I actually have a fairly violent river here, and I'm only getting 150 horsepower. Yeah. The water wheels are suddenly a whole lot less effective compared to what they used to be. In every play map I've done so far, I'm getting about an average of 100 if I'm lucky on wheels that used to be doing 200 or 180. So, big difference. So, something you need to keep in mind. Next thing we want to talk about is the Lido. Lido is a nice, easy building. Like I said, it is super late game. It actually requires some of the new resources that are late game. So, Lido, it gives beavers fun. Now, we are going to quantify some of these things. So, if we come into a beaver, we can see previously, they would have a carousel for fun. Now they can also have a Lido for fun. Now, carousel used to give them a working speed of 15%. A Lido is a working speed of 5%. Yes, they do stack, but you have limited time for your beavers to sit down and relax at the end of the day to try and get all their bonuses. You know, you might need to cut some things. But yeah, Lido is one of the new buildings. It is under the leisure. It requires 40 logs, 20 planks, and 10 of the treated pine planks. We're going to get into those as we go through some of these updates, but it's a brand new building. It's going to require some tweaking. Next thing we have is we have a couple of new plant types. These are designed to be actually planted underwater. We have Spatterdock, and we also have Cattail. Now, Cattail and Spadderdock both require a brand new building, which is an aquatic farmhouse, which, funnily enough, you don't actually put on the water. You put right here on land. It takes 2 beavers, as they did previously, and it lets you plant get the new two types of food, which is the cattail and the Spatterdock. So the cattail is 8 days to grow and gives you 3 cattail roots, and the Spatterdock is 12 days to grow and gives you 3 Spatterdock. Now, question is, what do you do with these two things? Well, one of them goes in the grill. One of them goes in the grill. The other one goes in the gristmill. So we should go look at those buildings because they've also had a change. As we can see from our grills now, we have a couple of options. So normally grills would just do a grilled potato. You actually have a current recipe that you need to set for each one of your grills. And as soon as you get this patch, every single grill will need to have a new recipe or a recipe set for it. Same goes for the gristmills and also the bakery. So we have grilled potatoes, good old grilled potatoes, love them grilled potatoes. Next one we have is grilled chestnuts. We're going to get into chestnuts in a second. And then we have grilled Spadderdock. So the Spadderdock can be grilled. One Spadderdock turns into 3 grilled Spadderdock. And the other option is cattail roots turn into cattail flour. Cattail flour we can turn into cattail crackers. So there's one lot of flour to gives you 4 crackers, and that was 1 root for 1 flour. So yeah, the cattail's not too bad. As for the other option, we have maple pastries. So we have in the bakery, we have good old bread, of course with the cattail crackers, and then we have maple pastries. We're going to get to maple pastries. They're a little bit more, we'll get there. They also require wheat flour. So wheat flour plus some maple syrup. Yep, finally we have maple syrup. Okay, so next thing we probably want to talk about is going to be the Tapper Shack. Tapper Shack run by the Eagle Beaver here. Eager Beaver here. So when we have, not chestnut trees, let's go with a maple tree. Maple tree. After a maple tree is fully mature, has to be fully mature, it then starts making maple syrup. And as you can see, these trees are not covered with acid, including the pine trees. It's not acid, it's or poison. This represents maple syrup, or in the case of the pine trees, it's pine resin. So these lovely trees make maple syrup. Now, I haven't done an experiment on it yet, but I do believe it requires a fully grown tree to then be fully grown for probably 30 days, which is a long time. Speaking of 30 days, we have had a change to the maple trees, which is going to affect every single one of your games. Rather than taking 24 days to grow, they now require 30 days to grow. They take a very, very long time to grow now. Especially if you're playing on hard mode with droughts that get 3 days of water, 30 days worth of droughts, bad things happen. So maple is a lot harder and maybe not as effective as pine anymore. On top of that, we do have a brand new tree, that is the chestnut tree. So the chestnut tree, it takes twice as long as the pine tree, gives you twice as much wood, also makes chestnuts. So if we click on a chestnut tree right here, it is slowly growing chestnuts. And again, same story. It seems to be, have not confirmed, that if the chestnut tree takes 24 days to grow, it takes 24 days to have chestnuts. Chestnuts can be picked by the good old gatherer flag, run by Bitchy Beaver, and the gatherer flag can pick up berries or chestnuts. So that's a change. Now, it doesn't say in the nutrition tab anymore, it doesn't mention berries anymore, so I'm not sure if chestnuts can be just eaten raw. I'm assuming they can, but again, we're going to be doing a follow-up experimental video to cover that in more depth. Next one we're going to talk about is mines. Okay, we now have mines. Mines take in gears and treated pine and will give you metal ore. So now there is an infinite supply of metal ore on the map. There's a catch. It's only on new maps. You can go into editor mode and technically add an ore patch to an existing map, but that's a technicality that you can put them in. But generally they only exist on brand new maps. So something to consider. And on top of that, it does take 10 beavers to operate this building, and you're going to have to constantly supply it with both gears and treated planks. We should probably jump on to treated planks and explain them. We have a brand new building. It is the wood workshop. It is going to require... and the mine doesn't require any power, which I was really surprised about. Okay, wood workshop. Wood workshop requires 250 horsepower. Is going to require planks and also pine resin to give you a treated plank. So remember our pine trees over here? Not only going to have to grow them for wood, you're then going to have to leave them alive and not chop them down to run a tapper shack over here so they can gather sap from the pine trees and syrup from the maple trees. Once they have some pine resin, they can add that to their normal planks, and we can get some treated pine planks. Handy, normally used in waterproof buildings. Speaking of waterproof buildings, we have this lovely building here, and as it's the end of the day, the beavers are using it. It is the mud bath. Mud bath is a brand new building. It comes with magical mud. No idea where the mud comes from. And when you provide it power, the mud bath has bubbles. Again, I was sure the bubbles are coming from somewhere else, but it turns out beavers use mechanical power to make bubbles in a bubble bath. As for its additions, it gives them, again, fun working speed bonus of 10 and only requires 50 horsepower compared to previously. Leisure, we had the carousel, 400 horsepower for the carousel to run 12 beavers at a time, whereas the mud bath is 8 beavers on 50 horsepower. It is going to require, gears, treated pine, a lot of treated planks, and also water. So it's a building actually going to require water to get the building built. Doesn't need water to maintain it, just to get the building built. Next one is going to be the observatory. So the beavers have become knowledgeable. They've started staring into the skies, and of course, an observatory is going to give them knowledge. Again, it is going to require power. It's going to require another 300 horsepower, beaver power. And over here, it is going to require a lot of planks, a lot of gears, and also pine resin, which is a weird combination. And if I can find a beaver, timber. Thanks for just breaking that up, timber, and just snoring right through my conversation. So it covers the knowledge tree. So knowledge, books used to give you a working speed bonus of 20%, but books were consumed. The observatory is a working speed bonus of 10%. So not quite as effective, but you can run many, many beavers, or many, many observatories, providing you have the power to feed them all. Next building we have is a smelter. So when we're actually mining in a mine, we get out a brand new resource, which is going to be metal ore. No longer scrap, we're actually going to get metal ore. Metal ore is going to have to come in here, and we're going to consume metal ore with 2 fuel logs for a change to give us 1 metal block. So it is a new way of getting unlimited metal, which is very, very good, because as playing as the Iron Teeth, I found it very, very frustrating that once the metal was gone on the map, I had no more options. And there are some very expensive buildings on the map for metal. On top of that, storage has been updated. We have many, many, many more things to add. Obviously, we have treated pine, we have Spatterdock, we have pine resin, metal ore, maple syrup, maple pastries, grilled Spadderdock, grilled chestnuts, chestnuts themselves, cattail root, cattail flour, cattail crackers, and that's it. So you have a number of more things that you have to find storage for. It's getting close to the game where you need to actually say, okay, once we have X number in stock, map-wide or district-wide, just stop producing that, please. Just pause the building automatically for me, because I've had some colonies starve to death because they had food but nowhere to store the food because it was full of other crap. Paper number 1 that I'm thinking of. Yes. Okay, and then finally, the biggest one yet, we have the pump. The mechanical water pump. Now, mechanical water pump is underwater. It is very expensive. Okay, 100 gears, 50 treated pine, and 50 metal. Very, very expensive to get. Is going to let you pump water up a maximum depth of 4, and is much more effective than the good old beaver run water dumps. And I know the number 1 question people are going to have is, can you make a perpetual energy machine using the water dumps? Can you pump the water up to then run it through some good old, where are they? good old water wheels to make power and have a infinite power loop? And the short answer is yes. As you can see, I am pumping the water up here, consuming 1400 horsepower, to then pump it up again for another 1400 horsepower. So it's like 2800 horsepower. And then I am running it through a lot of water wheels, looping it all the way down, and then finally kicking it back out this trough side. And for all the water wheels running flat out, that is all the water that's making out the other end. On top of that, it's not quite, well, it's never water negative, water neutral. Water is evaporating on every single one of these tiles constantly. In fact, actually, it's probably a perfect example. As I've turned these off, we can see this is a whole lot more full. And as we slide to left, these are a whole lot more empty because they've been built and then I've turned them off till I got a system that worked. But yes, this took up a lot of room, and it's making 4,300 horsepower, and I'm using 2,800 to run it. So it has given me like 1,500 beaver power for free. And you can see, you know, the first one's doing 56 horsepower, and the last one's doing 39 horsepower. They're not efficient. They're not efficient, and if I add more pumps at the front, it seems to start flooding. So maybe there's ways to optimize it. I'm not particularly sure. I did also need a lot of windmills to kickstart the system, or a lot of beavers running on wheels, because I need to fill up this first layer with some water to then fill up the second layer to then wait for the water to run all the way through the system, and then once it got to the end, pump, or slide back out and come back in here upstream so I could come back down the pumps a second time. But yeah, we're getting there. In fact, we're slowly drying out. Thanks droughts. Okay, so that is, I think, all the updates. Did I miss anything? Grsitmill Bakery. Water has changed a lot. So we did mention the water wheel. On top of that, that's another change. We can see the first wheel's doing 56 horsepower, then 51, then 49, then 47, 47, 46, 46, 46, 46, hang on, 6, 7, 9, 75. Okay. So what actually happens is the water slows down as it passes through every single water wheel. And the way I have to speed it back up is I have to drop it by a tile. And as we can see, I've had to build these drops in to make sure that the water doesn't become stagnant and I don't lose all the speed. It has been, making a perpetual machine has been a lot more frustrating, but it can be done, but it is one of the many, many changes. In fact, actually, let's just run a quick experiment right here so I can demonstrate. Let's get in some water wheels. And yes, I'm playing in creative mode so I can get this done as quickly as possible. And let me just flush the river. So, river's been flushed. I've removed all the water on the map. I do want to mention that the lovely plants, the lovely underwater plants, die real fast without water. Like 0.2 of a day. I don't even know if my river can get down here fast enough. You're doing 200 horsepower. That's not bad. Yeah. And that's dry. It then needs to be underwater. Okay, so if we can see this water coming down, of course it happens at night time. We're going to see it hits this center block at the same time. And as it flows through, we're going to see the water on the left keeps its speed, whereas the water on the right is slowly going to lose a little bit of a leeway. Actually, they've changed it again. Oh, see, like I said, it's still very, very much experimental. The devs are definitely doing things. We can see that the right-hand water is a little bit slower sometimes, but that used to be a lot worse. I found after running it through about 3 or 4 wheels, it would be 1 tile behind, another 3 or 4 wheels, 2 tiles behind, so on and so forth. But this is where I'm going to leave it for this little video. Just talking about what's come in the game. There are a lot more changes to do. The devs are adding things left, right, and center. And yeah, they are still tweaking things as people play with experimental and leave feedback. So if you have feedback for the devs, by all means, jump on their Discord, jump over to Steam, leave your feedback there. At the same time, like I said, if you click like on this video, if you found it helpful, very, very much appreciate it. And if you're interested in some a little bit more in-depth analysis, so how the chestnut trees compare to the maple trees, compared to the pine trees, compared to the good old birch trees in like wood per day, and how many forests we need to plant them all, and how many lumberjacks we need to chop them all down, by all means click the subscribe button. We will also be doing the exact same experiments when it comes to food. Now we have, obviously we already had carrot, potato, wheat, and berries. Can't forget berries. They were pathetic, never mind. But now we have 2 underwater plants to play with. And of course we also have maple pastries. Maple patties, whatever they're called. So we have a few new things we're going to need to look at. But anyway, I'm going to leave it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Do hope you enjoyed. And I hope to see you guys in the very next video. And by all means, up on your screen, probably right about now, is a link to my Let's Play. My Let's Play where we're doing Timberborn on hard difficulty. It is definitely hard. And I'm hoping not to dry out any beavers. At the same time, you may see some of the beaver names that mentioned or seen in this episode. They're actually featured over in that Let's Play, because I enjoy beaver puns. I'm sure you do too. So every beaver has a punny name. Anyway, that's it. We're out. Thanks for watching. Bye.